This is a good movie podcast with Katie and Joe.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to This is a Good Movie podcast with Katie and Joe. This is season 2.
Woohoo!
I didn't think we were going to get a sequel, I'll be honest.
Yeah, well, there were many times when I said, let's start season 2, and you said, okay, and then it didn't happen. So here we are months later.
Okay, so we're starting season 2 off blaming me.
No blame.
No,
just
that sounds like blame.
No.
Let's start season 2, and then you said, yeah, but you never did it. What is that?
It's a statement of the facts. I'm laying out the facts for everyone to judge for themselves.
Gotcha. So season 3, we're going to start with marriage counseling.
Yeah, hopefully.
What? Anyways, we missed all of you. This is a good movie podcast Aniacs. Is that what we call them?
No, it was TIAGM.
TIAGM Maniacs?
Something like that, yeah.
TIAGM Burrios?
We'll workshop it. We'll continue to workshop it.
Yeah, we've had an off season and we did no workshopping.
Very little.
But yeah, welcome back, Katie. Nice seeing you again. I haven't seen you since the end of season 1.
I know. It was really hard to move across the country while keeping entirely separate.
Yeah.
Because every time that we started to talk to each other, we just said, save it for the podcast.
Save it for the podcast. So this is going to be a 17-hour opening episode.
Yeah, because we have a lot to discuss that's entirely separate from anything about movies.
Yeah. This is a good conversation, maybe podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you mentioned we moved across the country.
Mm-hmm.
We left New York City in season 1. We said
goodbye.
We need to go out west for season 2.
Yeah, it's a whole manifest destiny thing. You guys wouldn't get it.
Yeah, I'm Lewis.
And I'm Katie. I played, I don't know that this is good, but in 5th grade, I want to say, we did like a Lewis and Clark skit. And I did get to play Sacagawea.
Yeah, I already...
There was very little costuming involved, but
Okay.
I got to bring in, I had a Bitty Baby. Do you know what that is?
I know Beanie Babies.
No, a Bitty Baby is like American Girl doll line of dolls.
Okay.
But they are babies.
All right. So American Baby Dolls.
Yeah, but they're called Bitty Babies. And I got to bring one in because Sacagawea had a baby
I didn't know that.
with her on this trip.
Wow, we're doing it. It's a history podcast here.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know Sacagawea had a baby for the trip.
Yes, she did. She's a superhero. And
Oh.
I got to play her in the 5th grade little classroom skit.
I liked when I found out there were already other people in California when they got there. Like, some people had landed, I think. I don't think they were the first white guys out there.
They were just mapping out because they made
Yeah.
a purchase. Jefferson made the Louisiana purchase, and they were like, what do we have now? And then they found out, yeah, there are already other people.
Okay, so we're out in Denver now,
Yes.
which isn't too bad. I will say seeing movies out here is a little different than New York City, but not that bad.
Well, there's pros and cons. Mm-hmm. Okay, the pro is we're back on AMC A-list.
We're back on AMC A-list. That is a pro.
Which we did have when we were in Manhattan, but they don't have any AMCs in Brooklyn. I think we've talked about this. It's upsetting. So now that we're out of Brooklyn, we're back on AMC A-list, so we can see more movies. The problem is they don't have as many movies out here as they do in New York.
But I think they do, because there's like actually there's a Landmark Cinemas, which is a bunch. I feel like they do more of the artsier or award-winning movies.
But they have them out. One, they don't all come out like at the same time. Like they're not doing like a national release. It's like a scaled thing, and so the movie will already have premiered elsewhere, and then we get it for like one weekend. And if you don't go see it that weekend, you're done.
Yeah, it is crazy. I guess I just assume they've done that because we've already been to, I think, 8 different theaters here in Denver, Colorado.
No, that's not true.
We've been to 2 Landmarks.
Yes.
We've been to the Regal out in Littlefield or whatever it's called. The Cinema Artist. United Artist.
That's Cinemark. It's not a
Cinemark.
Regal. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 landmarks, a Cinemark. We've been to a United Artist.
Yes.
We've been to the AMC.
Uh-huh.
We've been to that one near Aurelia's house.
Yep. Shout out Aurelia.
And the drive-through movie theater.
Wait, what's the United Artists one we went to?
Deadpool Wolverine.
Oh, we went to the IMAX.
And I believe we went to an 8th one that I just can't think of right now.
I don't think so. I think that's
Sorry,
it.
we've been to 7 movie theaters
that's it.
in 3 months.
Yeah, but the reason we have to go to all of those movie theaters is because even like the AMC isn't showing some of the indie A24 films.
Yeah.
So like we are actually forced to go support independent movie theaters.
And that's such bullshit. We want to pay the big guys once a month and not worry about it.
I do want to get use out of the A-list.
Yeah, no, we've talked about that.
I need to go see 2 movies per month in order for it to start paying for itself.
Yeah, so I think we're going to see the Saturday Night Live movie, timestamp, this weekend at AMC.
Hopefully, if it's out.
Yeah, hopefully if it's out. Yeah. Do you have any other topics before I get into the movie news that you wanted to discuss?
Your movie news.
I've got movie news.
Sure, we can talk about your movie news.
Okay, you want me to do the movie news theme song? Movie news, everybody, they're not gonna lose. You're gonna win with movie news. It's Joe's turn.
I'm worried that people think I nodded or something. I made some sort of affirmation.
You wrote me a love letter. You wrote me a full-on love letter.
Asked if I wanted to hear the theme song, and I didn't. My face was completely the same, and you asked, and then you launched into it anyway.
You wrote a full-on love letter, and I took that. Kale edited the whole reading of it out. I took that as go ahead. But yeah, movie news is it's pretty simple. There's not a lot going on because we're kind of in transition before we get into like the Oscar movies all coming out at once.
Yes, we are.
And the summer blockbusters are ending kind of things. We're in October, spooky season. But I will talk about a movie we just saw recently, Joker 2.
Yes, we did just see that recently.
I didn't mind it. Katie hated it. But in case you're wondering our reviews of it, but this news is about a review. Cinema Score, which they do ratings based off audience going the opening night and then giving a grade after their movie, plus demographics. Joker 2 got a D on Cinema Score.
Okay.
Like a grading system. It is the lowest score ever for any comic book movie.
Wow.
Think of all the comic book movies.
I am immediately thinking Venom 2.
Madam Web.
Well, Madam Web is a fun time.
Morbius.
So yeah, Morbius is very bad.
Whatever Craven's going to be.
We can just predict.
We can predict Craven is probably going to be bad.
Oh, yikes.
But so here's what I'm going to say. I don't think Joker 2 deserves that.
I know you don't. You've been talking a lot about Joker 2.
I'm getting jokery.
Somehow we still have more to say, I guess.
No, I'm not saying that it's a great movie. It's not a great movie. It's really boring. It's long. There are some choices I don't agree with.
Sure.
But overall, I did like it. I did like a big swing. The same reason I like M. Night Shyamalan movies. Taking a big swing, hoping it works.
Trap.
Well, you can't trap him.
Putting your daughter in a movie, hoping it works.
You can't trap him. He's a trap king. Can we do that?
I don't know.
I don't know. But I don't think Joker 2 is worse than Madam Web or worse than Morbius.
Again, you have to take Madam Web out of this because Madam Web is the funniest movie I've seen ever.
The funniest movie.
Okay, that's hyperbolic.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I did enjoy Madam Web. I will watch Madam Web again. I will watch Joker 2 again. But I've also watched Morbius, and I never will watch that again.
No, yeah, that's so bad.
I don't know what would happen for me to watch Morbius again.
Torture?
Torture. Yeah. That's the only thing.
Well, there you have it.
Anyways, that's my movie news. You didn't lose, you won. Congrats.
Okay. You bringing up a bad movie, I feel like I do need to give
Bad movie.
some recommendations because I'm realizing we haven't been on here to give any TV or movie recs since June. And a lot of good TV and good movies have come out since then that I haven't been able to talk about. And so I do want to share my recommendations.
All right. This is Katie's Why Aren't You Watching This Already, Rex?
Yes. Okay. Wait, will you... I don't want to go on...
A theme song?
I want us to get to the movie. So can you give me like a time limit for this?
Yes, I'll give you a time limit. Okay. I'm going to give you 1 minute to get all of these out.
Okay. Okay.
I'll give you 2 minutes to get all of these out.
We can aim for one, and I just might not listen to you when you say the time is up.
Okay. All right. At the end of 2 minutes, I will sing your theme song of Katie's Picks. You better watch. Why aren't you? The segment that everybody loves. We brought back from season 1.5, which was just normal conversation with friends.
But I have so many recs. I just want. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay. We'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2. Go.
Okay, I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but if anyone is still wondering whether Nobody Wants This on Netflix is like overhyped and therefore they should skip it, do not skip it. Kristen Bell and Adam Brody are the most charming aughts TV stars. They are all grown up. It will heal you. You will not be disappointed. Please go watch Sing Sing, best film of the year. I hope it wins everything at the Oscars. Shout out English Teacher on Hulu. Literally so funny. It's basically Abbott Elementary for people who take antidepressants. How to Die Alone is also on Hulu, also funny. That new Aubrey Plaza film that we saw, My Old Ass, so poignant, so beautiful. I cried, I laughed, I cried again. What else? The opening sequence to The Perfect Couple on Netflix. Not necessarily the entire show, but just the opening sequence. I actually think that they should have like an Emmy for just opening sequences, and it would be The Perfect Couple and White Lotus. The press tour for Bridgerton season 3, perfect. And most importantly, My Lady Jane on Amazon Prime, season 1. Amazon Prime and I are actually feuding right now until they uncancel My Lady Jane. I'm just saying, Amazon, listen to me. If you, Amazon, I am the captain now. You will uncancel My Lady Jane. It's literally so perfect. Why would you take it away from me? Everyone go sign the petition. Google My Lady Jane, Amazon petition, and sign it. And those are all of my recs.
Oh my gosh, Katie, you did this in 1:30.
That's amazing. I really was trying hard not to go for the full 2 minutes.
I thought when you started My Lady Jane, you were at 1 minute, and I honestly was like, I can't believe she's going to do this in 1 minute. But then, our biggest listener is Jeff Bezos, and you are holding him hostage.
I have a lot to say about My Lady Jane. And so I knew it was going to take a full
that was the extra minute,
seconds.
Was the My Lady Jane part. Okay, well, you got to watch all that stuff. If you didn't hear that, just rewind it about 2 minutes. You'll get back to it.
A minute and a half.
But we've come to the part of the show. This is the reason that people pay the big bucks to download our Patreon, which is free on Spotify. So everybody, are you ready for the movie of the week? Katie, would you like to introduce everybody to this vile?
What?
I didn't want to say vile. I don't know, cinephile.
Okay. Well, this week we watched the 2001 critical and commercial hit Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge.
Is it Moulin or Moulin?
Well, I don't speak French.
But I speak Disney movies, so it's probably not Mulan. It's probably Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin?
Mulan.
Mulan's the Mulan movie.
MR. Now I don't want to say it the rest of the episode.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll just call it the movie.
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, okay. We're both saying the exact same thing for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, we watched Moulin Rouge. What was the box office for this whole budget, box office, all that fun stuff?
Do you have any guesses?
Do I have any guesses what the budget is? I'm gonna guess the budget is like $80 million because this is 2001, so that would have been a lot of money back then. I'm guessing the box office return is about $300 million.
Wow, that's so much money. The budget was $50 million.
Okay.
Box office was $180 million. So you You went a little too high on that one, but still.
I am. It's new now. Movies nowadays, their budgets and box office.
I know it's
really
streaming. Don't even get me started.
Who is this character?
The president of SAG-AFTRA.
Is that Fran Drescher?
Yeah, her voice has changed.
Okay, Katie's new character.
Classic Fran Drescher.
Yeah. This is what got Katie's second Indiana's funniest was her Fran Drescher impression.
Yeah.
Fran Drescher impression is a tongue twister in itself. Okay, that's pretty good. That's over 3 times the budget and everything.
Exactly. That's why I said it was a success.
Not a success
by all accounts.
No, well, that was pretty good. I knew nothing of this movie.
Yeah, what did you think it was?
So all I knew about this movie is I used to watch the Lady Marmalade music video when I was growing up, which was like a dope music video.
All? Yeah.
Christina Aguilera, Missy Elliott, other people.
Other cool people.
What did I think this movie was? I wrote, dude meets Moulin Rouge club lady and falls in love, but also society doesn't like it because she's a harlot or something, and the club is closing down, maybe?
I mean, elements of that are correct.
I mean, that's all I could guess. Is I was thinking like Chicago, but I think Chicago's not that. I think Chicago's like a murder.
Chicago is a murder. Okay, yeah, we'll have to watch that as well. You haven't seen that. Well, here's what the movie actually is. So first off, it's a jukebox musical. Did you know that going in?
No, once you told me, we talked about jukebox musical later because Joker 2 is also a jukebox musical, which I didn't understand. Yeah. So you now that term makes more sense to me.
Yes. So what that is, if anyone else doesn't know, it's when you have a musical, but you're using songs that already exist. So popular songs.
Real quick, Katie, who did jukebox musical better, Moulin Rouge or Joker 2 Full Idea?
I'm gonna say Moulin Rouge.
Both French.
One in the loosest sense of the word.
Oh, in case you're wondering, we have not seen the Crow remake yet.
We absolutely have not, and maybe never will.
We may never will. All right, so yeah, that's what I thought the movie was. What is the movie?
That's what I was saying.
I know, Katie, but I'm just getting us back on track here.
It's a jukebox musical.
Oh, fuck!
Okay, so we have Ewan McGregor is like a poor writer. He moves to France. He wants to be part of the Bohemian movement. He kind of falls in with a couple of other Bohemians.
This is 1 minute into the movie. All of this she just said.
Yes. They're putting together a show. He gets involved with them, and then they are trying to get it put on at Moulin Rouge, which is a real place in France, and it's a dance hall, like a little cabaret dance hall.
I don't want to... Yeah, I'll let you finish the thing, but I just want to come back to that point of what their plan is. Okay.
So they want Spectacular, their musical, to be there, and for Satine, who is a courtesan, played by Nicole Kidman, to star in it. And through many mishaps, and I don't even know really what's going on, just a lot of flips, I guess, that happens, but there's what is he? A duke?
There's the Duke, yeah. I've written about the Duke multiple times.
Okay. He's going to finance it, but on the condition that Nicole Kidman has to be with him. And of course, she and Ewan McGregor are falling in love. And
he's paying for the girlfriend service.
Yeah. And then...
the girlfriend experience.
It gets to the end. There's a lot of jealousy, and she has consumption, and she dies.
I would also spoilers for, we're going to spoil the movie.
It's been out for over 20 years. There's already a musical about it, on Broadway that has been running for a long time. Yeah, that is true. For 6+ years. So I think, sorry, spoiler alert, yes.
2 things about your description of what the movie is.
Okay.
1, I'll get back to this point I want to bring up with their plan. 2, the way you described the movie, which is a lot of detail and a lot of information, and then at the end kind of dwindle off,
is correct.
And just kind of and I guess some stuff happens and she dies. And that is the best description of this movie, because it's one half constant stuff happening, and then the second half of can she just die already?
It's a bit of an overload. I will give you that.
Yeah.
So this is a Baz Luhrmann film. Are you familiar with Baz Luhrmann at all?
The only
Australian filmmaker.
The only Baz Luhrmann movie I've seen is that Elvis movie that I did not like.
Yeah. It wasn't great.
There was some, I guess, I knew he was like a weird guy and I was excited for it because of Moulin Rouge, Baz Luhrmann stuff. There only was like his weird edits like he does in this movie for like a weird montage.
Yeah, I honestly felt like Elvis wasn't that Baz Luhrmann-y other than like when they're in Vegas kind of. So yeah, I don't feel like that's a great representation. But okay, so this movie was part of what he called his Red Curtain trilogy. So you remember in the opening, like you have the conductor and the Red Curtain. So
I did right. Who the fuck is this conductor?
So this is part of the Red Curtain trilogy following Strictly Ballroom in 1992.
Yeah, I don't know that movie.
And then Romeo plus Juliet in 1996.
Is that
with Claire Danes and Leo?
So that's a Leo Romeo plus Juliet. Okay, so I think I've heard of that movie, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so those ones like stylistically are much more similar to this one. In fact, the L'Amour sign, like billboard that you kind of see over Montmartre, over Paris, and this is like on the beach in Romeo and Juliet. So there's a lot of like
so those movies are kind of tied together loosely, just so he says they are.
Yeah, very loosely. It's not like there aren't really. I mean, John Leguizamo is in both of them, playing different characters, so it's not like
Johnny Leguizamo. John Leguizamo plays a dwarf in this.
Yes.
And he just went on a whole tirade at the Emmys about representation for Latino representation. And I'm watching this movie like, dude, you just played a dwarf in this movie
25 years ago.
I know, but I'll tell you, his rant was about 25 years ago.
Yeah, not great.
I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm
also, this is the second movie I've seen John Leguizamo in clown makeup.
What's the other one?
Spawn. In that movie, you will never see.
Cool.
Don't worry about Spawn, everybody. We're not covering it.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, so you get a sense of like the Baz Luhrmann aesthetic. What did you think? It's very distinct in this film.
I honestly hated it.
Okay.
But it's interesting because I feel like it's the same energy
Manic.
as that Adam Sandler movie we watched.
Uncut Gems?
Uncut Gems. I feel like there's a similar energy to it. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to.
You think maybe everyone's like on drugs?
Kinda, yeah. So it has that kind of thing. But
Which
Uncut Gems is more about like a gambling energy than it is a drug energy. Where this movie is like cocaine.
Yeah, this is, ultimate show business. I feel like this is a movie specifically for theater kids because it's all about like a showman. Everyone is just over the top and like go all the time. Each person's manic energy is like hyping everyone else up until it's just everyone is crazed.
That is one of the things that when I was thinking was like, I don't know who this movie is for because I've always thought this movie was like, I don't want gender stuff, but like for women.
Okay.
Like it was just like a love story that was like cute and they put like pop songs on it. And or it's a movie for my parents where it's like, oh, back when like everyone saw Best Picture nominees and like it was the thing you did and they got a lot of money kind of thing.
Yes.
But it did not feel like that. Either of those groups I'm watching.
It was a Best Picture nominee.
Yeah. No, I saw that. It lost to what?
A Beautiful Mind.
Oh. I've got a bloody beautiful mind. Peter Frederick Wallace.
So this film had 8 nominations at the Oscars that year.
I'm not surprised.
It had Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Jim Broadbent, Best Actress.
Was he the circus ringleader guy?
Zidler, yeah.
Yeah.
It won 2 awards.
Costuming?
Yes, Best Costume Design and one more.
Best Production Design?
Yes, Best Production Design. So, which makes sense because they were so unique and like the costumes are so over the top and like it's just very
You know what it felt like?
Different.
I'm just coming to the realization now. It felt like cocaine Tim Burton.
But not quite as dark.
Not
despite
quite as
the death and consumption.
But there is like a darkness to it. Like in like the over like grand designs and stuff, like the elephant room that's just in the middle of the stage that's hanging up.
They had to wear like harnesses when they were filming up there because it was like so dangerous.
So that was like real. I guess
Yeah.
there wasn't like a lot of CGI. They just built that whole thing.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Well, there was a lot of stupidity on this set. Nicole Kidman was like very injured. She comes
She had
in.
consumption.
Satine comes in on like a swing in Moulin Rouge. She's singing about the diamonds and all that. She falls and she breaks ribs. In real life, she broke ribs. She also broke another rib, like because her corset was so tight because she was trying to get an 18-inch waist, which is like gross. I mean, sorry, just like to try and do that and break a rib in order to do it is gross.
Thank you for clarifying.
She like
I have a
fell
size 18
and like hurt
waist.
her leg. Like she was so injured that for part of this filming, she was in a wheelchair. So there are certain shots where it's just her face and she was filming in a wheelchair. She had to drop out of another film because of her injuries. What was it? Panic Room? Have you seen that?
Oh, the Jodie Foster?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
So that was
That's
supposed
all
to
right
be
movie.
Nicole Kidman, but she couldn't do it because she was.
It's not like she missed out on much. Missing Panic Room.
Yeah, I mean, for this, she won a Golden Globe. She was nominated for an Oscar. So, like, I guess worth it, but yikes.
Here were some. Can I tell you? Because the energy of this movie, the first 30 minutes, is insane. So let's just go. I'm just going to go through, like, me trying to catch up with this.
Okay.
So we start off with the rooftops. They show everything, and I go, oh shit, is this movie gonna be The Crow?
Because they are like flying through the air.
felt
You're like
crowy.
above the rooftops of London, of Paris. Yikes.
So that is like after that shot, they go into like another shot that's crazy, and I just write, I honestly don't have the ability to follow this movie.
It's a lot up front, and then they start the he immediately starts this like rehearsal kind of thing for Spectacular, and kind of the first song of the film is from Sound of Music. And when they start singing the Sound of Music song, you looked at me like so terrified.
I go, because I thought what happened at that moment is like, is this movie about the making of the Sound of Music? What the fuck is this movie? Because I wrote, why the fuck is the Sound of Music in this?
Yeah, and that's why I figured you did not know this was a jukebox musical.
And then I wrote, was this ahead of its time? But also, was this bad?
No, it is ahead of its time.
It kind of is ahead of its time. I feel like it's of its own time.
Well,
Because I think Baz Luhrmann is just his own thing.
he is. So stylistically, there were a few things that he has said about this movie and like the aesthetic of it. One, so he was directing Shakespeare, I want to say it was Midsummer Night's Dream, in Sydney, and he took a trip over to India and went to see like a Bollywood film and was very, very inspired by...
Very inspired.
I mean...
Almost to the point where he stole.
Yeah, so eventually they do change the plot of Spectacular to be instead of like a goat herd, and now it's a sitar player, and it's all in India. So he's very inspired by Bollywood, and that in Bollywood films, it's like you don't even have to understand the language to like know what's going on and to feel like the energy, and you see the commitment of these actors to like, even if what they're being asked to do is like a little crazy or outside the box, they're just like committed, which I think you can really see in some, like, you watch Nicole Kidman dancing in some of these things and like it's just nuts. So, and then the like over the top, the huge dance numbers, all the colors and like the costumes and all that. And then on top of that, he was like, I wanted to think of back in 1899, like what was the excitement of the Moulin Rouge in real life for people, and like how do I evoke that same excitement in modern day, because that's hard. Now that there have been so many like advancements in pop culture, it's hard to look back and be like, yeah, that's gonna, we're gonna get excited for what was exciting 100 years ago.
I'll do whatever I think Vegas would do.
So that's why he's like trying to match that energy, I guess.
I kept following up as I was trying to catch up with this movie. This movie is somehow a reverse of something I should love and Katie hates.
Yeah, this is not, I think normally movies with this kind of manic energy I don't care for, but I loved the love story and the music, and so
I think Ewan McGregor is really a likable person.
Extremely likable.
And then I finished up with these two notes, and I feel like I calmed down.
Okay.
I go, this movie is MTV, and now that I'm establishing it's MTV, this is much easier.
Oh, good.
Like 90s MTV felt very much this movie. Kind of like weird energy, kind of indie vibe, but not really.
He designed it to feel like a music video. Like he wanted the dances and the musical numbers to literally feel like you were watching a music video. So that totally tracks.
And then I go, also this movie is just Babylon Act 1.
That pains me because I didn't care for Babylon. But maybe if they put some more music in it.
Yeah, maybe they made it a jukebox musical.
Maybe if it was a jukebox musical.
But yeah, once I settled in, but it took me a while. But once I settled in, I was like, okay, this is the story. I got it.
Well, the first 25 minutes, it's just singing and yelling.
Yeah.
And it takes a while until Satine shows up and she starts talking to Zidler, and you're like, oh, there will be dialogue in this film. Like, that is a grounding moment where you're like, thank goodness, because otherwise I was not going to follow this for 2 hours.
It's crazy. The movie, I don't think, got good until Nicole Kidman takes Ewan McGregor to her room. Oh. And then the movie is like, I'm like, okay, this is like a sitcom now? This interaction?
It is funny. And Nicole Kidman is a very funny actor, I think. She has range for days. She has as much range as she does wigs in all of her films. But that's such a good scene because it's like the miscommunication, which normally stresses me out. Again, it's so funny here and so endearing how she is trying to seduce him because she thinks he's the Duke, and he's just trying to read her some poetry.
Yeah.
And then he does, and she's instantly in love with him.
It's because I feel like he's probably the only person that was nice for 2 seconds.
Yeah, that didn't want something from her.
Yeah. Oh, he did want something from her.
For her to star in his play.
Yeah. Again, let me get back to the thing I was going to bring up earlier.
Oh, sure.
Their plan. Their plan was to make a theater show.
Toulouse's plan, played by John Leguizamo.
Spectacular.
Spectacular.
At the Moulin Rouge Club. And they needed to get funding from the Moulin Rouge Club to do their show there.
Right.
The Moulin Rouge Club is not a theater.
No, they turn it into a theater for the show.
That plan is crazy. They're like, we want to do this here, but we need to convert this entire building into a theater.
Of course. So that Satine can be a real actress.
It's not for Satine.
But it is, because she is the diamond.
She's Diamond Dog.
She's a diamond dog.
I'm pretty sure there's a tag team, WWE tag team, that's called the Diamond Dogs. I'm not 100% sure. And then before we get she fell. And earlier we saw another guy fall because he was narcoleptic, and I was like, is she also narcoleptic? Is everyone just narcoleptic in this movie?
She just has tuberculosis.
That's gonna happen. But yeah, I felt once the elephant room, they were singing the singing and then when they separated and sang to each other, I was like, this is good.
Yeah,
I'm very much enjoying this experience.
Totally.
Then we kind of leave it.
And then who knows what? Then the Duke gets involved.
Duke gets heavily involved.
You said you had a lot to say about the Duke.
I like the Duke. I'm pro Duke, and I honestly think everyone's being pretty rude to the Duke.
He honestly, the first half of the film, he doesn't seem like that bad of a guy. If you're just well, this is just how things were, where you have courtesans and whatever, and he has money. And when he comes in and finds her and Christian. And is like, oh my gosh, what, you think I'm a fool? And then she's like, no, it's a late night rehearsal. And then they like do a little show for him. And then he's like on board with it. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I can get behind this. Yeah, I'll produce it. And then it's just him kind of getting the wool pulled over his eyes, like over and over and over again. And I do think at that point, like, listen, he shouldn't be trying to murder Christian.
No.
He shouldn't be trying to murder anyone. Murder's bad. But you would be upset.
Yes. He's been all his money has been taken.
Right.
For this thing. And sure, he's lecherous. But that feels like, I mean, she is, and maybe I'm incorrect, is she a prostitute in this movie?
Yeah. That's what a courtesan is.
I don't speak French.
Okay. Yes, she's a prostitute.
I just know how to pronounce Moulin Rouge. Mm-hmm. I mean, he paid for her. And the wool, Katie, the wool.
The wool is pulled.
The wool's pulled.
But also she is literally dying.
She is dying. I mean,
it's not.
It was a bad investment. It's some cost.
At one point he's like, listen, I want Satine just for myself forever. He upgrades to the wife package. But like, that's a bad investment because she's not hanging around for very long.
I liked his mustache.
Yes.
Who is that actor anybody who plays the Duke?
His name is like Richard Roxburgh or like Roger Roxburgh. He's an Australian actor. So they filmed this like
this is mainly Australians.
Between the US and Australia. But then when they were in Australia, so they were shooting on a soundstage and they went over by like 2 weeks in their shooting schedule. And then they had to vacate the soundstage because it was going to be used for Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, also starring Ewan McGregor. He's just like camped out in Australia, I guess. So then they had to do like reshoots in Madrid or something random.
Wow, that's funny. He's
like, oh, sorry,
I'm just gonna stay here.
Let me just throw on this robe real quick.
Let me just do this other movie that's gonna make. What a year for Ewan McGregor.
I know. I feel like.
And that movie, I will say, Episode 2 is the worst Star Wars movie.
I like it partly because it is the one where Hayden Christensen is the cutest.
Okay.
Because he's not in Episode 1. And Episode 3, he's a murderer.
Is Hayden Christensen in any rom-coms?
No, I don't know what. He was in that like Time Jumper movie thing.
Oh, Jumper?
Yeah, and then I have no idea what's happened to him since.
Yeah, what a weird career that guy. I guess it just was that movies are so critically bad from people that he just kind of disappeared.
Perhaps. But Ewan McGregor has stuck around because he's great.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I love Ewan McGregor.
What were we talking about? Why were we in Australia? We're talking about Australia?
I was talking about who the Duke is. You were from Australia.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of Australian stuff.
Gotcha. I thought that actor was pretty good. And I would say outside maybe when they were singing from their different bedrooms to each other, he had the second best song in the thing when he sang with Ziegler, the Like a Virgin song.
Zidler. Yeah, that was good. So Jim Broadbent did not actually sing in this.
Did anybody who did sing?
Everyone else seems to have sung.
Ewan McGregor sang?
For sure, Ewan McGregor. For sure, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, I mean, it did sound like Ewan McGregor's voice when he was singing.
I thought they both did a pretty good job. Now, do you think, having seen Ewan McGregor in a lot of films, do you think he could also be in that SNL sketch that is about Hugh Jackman?
Oh, yeah. I don't think
so
because I don't think Ewan McGregor... Obi-Wan is the only thing he has.
So Obi-Wan isn't like manly enough, like macho enough is what you're saying.
I mean, he's
no Wolverine, I'll give you that.
That's a really good question. Is Obi-Wan masculine? In a way, but not in the way that's
that's
cool.
why I changed it to macho. That's very different.
No, I don't think he's macho because he's like too conflicted with what he's supposed to do. He's not just making a decision right away.
Sure.
Which makes him less
He's
macho.
Yeah, I guess like Wolverine and
Wolverine's conflicted, but he's also going to kill someone at any moment.
Yeah, he's a bit of a hothead.
Yeah.
Okay, so we won't put Ewan McGregor in the sketch.
No.
If they were to reboot it.
If they were to reboot a sketch.
I don't know. Andy Samberg's back on this season of SNL, it seems. So.
I completely forgot about this until I just looked at my notes and I wrote, what the fuck is the moon singing for?
That's just Baz Luhrmann, okay? That's just good old Baz.
I wrote, what are the rules of this universe? Are there like regular people, like garbage men?
So they did film a few scenes like kind of around Paris or like around the neighborhood of Montmartre, and then it just was too long and like too much. So that's why really it only really takes place at Moulin Rouge and like the apartment, and that's it. So
yeah, I guess I didn't realize that.
Very,
it is just like
much a capsule.
And there's a scene in the Duke's house.
Yes.
But that is crazy. It is like 3 areas, that whole movie.
But honestly, that makes sense for how extensive like the sets were. The entire time I was watching it, especially the scenes at Moulin Rouge, I was just like, oh my God, this had to be such a nightmare to try and direct and choreograph and like film this. It seems so difficult based on how many people you have that you have to corral.
There's not CGI. Like that dance scene in the middle with all those people in the crowd and all of that stuff happening, the energy, the speed, moving the camera around. That is crazy.
So do you think it's weird or bad or wrong? Baz Luhrmann did not get nominated for Best Director.
I had to look at the other nominees.
Best Director that year was Ron Howard for also A Beautiful Mind, which won.
Yeah.
Best Ridley Scott for Black Hawk Down.
This is 2001.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Robert Altman for Gosford Park. I've never even heard of that.
Gosford Park? Oh, the nearly departed Maggie Smith was in that movie.
Oh.
It's like a British fancy, like talking. I think it's kind of like Downton Abbey. I'm not 100% sure.
Sounds like Maggie Smith. David Lynch from Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive is like a cult classic. Like looked back upon as a great movie.
And this last guy, you probably don't know him, Peter Jackson, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
That one's bullshit. He should be out. Yeah, I don't think he's better than those 5. Outside, I don't know Gosford Park, and
sure,
A Beautiful Mind won Best Picture, so he has to get the thing. But I've seen A Beautiful Mind. That movie is forgettable. Yeah. I would say I'd actually prefer Moulin Rouge to win Best Picture over Beautiful Mind than I would for him to get nominated as director.
Yeah, it's tough to go up against Ron Howard.
Yeah. Clint Howard, on the other hand, very easy to go up against. I very much enjoyed the Love Montage singing, and then in quotes I go, let's sing into each other's mouths.
That's just theater. Okay. Well, what did you think of the music overall? Like, what did you think of the song choices and the kind of the musical performance, and also like the love medley is like 8 different love songs all combined into one. But that's super, super popular.
I thought the medley was good.
Yeah, that's like the best.
I thought Nirvana was a weird choice to just like have in the middle of that opening scene. Like a Virgin, I did not like it when they started singing it, but then the choreography, I was like, this is pretty good.
I read something that was like, for that scene, they had to put Coca-Cola on the floor so that the dancers wouldn't slip, and I was like, it seems like there had to be a better solution.
Like just go to any movie theater and perform there.
Yeah.
And again, go back to what the plan is in case you guys don't remember. The plan was to get the Duke's money to fully redesign the Moulin Rouge to be a theater when it was already a quite successful brothel.
Like literally the most successful.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Was this a remake of a movie?
It is not a remake of a movie.
There's a movie in 1952 that called Moulin Rouge.
I think that's different.
Just different. Because Moulin Rouge is a famous enough place that you can make another movie about.
I think so, but now you've got me...
Well, the only reason I say that is because when I tried to find it on Amazon Prime, that old movie, Moulin Rouge in 1952, came up. Not the new one, or the relatively new one.
Okay, this says that Moulin Rouge 1952 is a biopic of Toulouse-Lautrec, the crippled painter whose work perfectly captured the spirit of Bohemian Paris in the naughty 1890s. So I guess it's a kind of about John Leguizamo's character.
Interesting.
Who's based on a real person, but like not. There's a few people in here who are like kind of loosely based on actual performers at the Moulin Rouge, or like
well, that's
Zidler is like
that.
the actual owner, but has a different first name. And like Satine is loosely based on like Greta Garbo and like a few.
Wait, Greta Garbo was performing at Moulin Rouge?
No, just like old timey, like
Okay,
her
gotcha.
look.
Gotcha. Like they want to look like a 1920s kind of like movie star in like an old movie that is also new.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot of like things you got to hold together.
There's a lot of different influences in this film. So the plot is loosely based on like 3 different operas as well. I think the most noticeable one is La Boheme, which is also what Rent is more closely based on. So it involves like a poor writer in love with a terminally ill sex worker. And so like that pulls from that. We also have La Traviata, which I'm not familiar with. So, but very similar themes. And then Orpheus in the Underworld, which is based on the Greek myth of Orpheus going into the underworld to rescue the love of his life, and then loses her because he looks back to check on her on the walk up
You can't
from the
do
underworld.
That.
Yeah. And so this is like Christian.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Christian goes to like the underworld of Paris.
Lot's
Moulin Rouge
wife.
to save. Yeah.
That little idiot.
Anyway, so if parts of the plot seem familiar, it's because they are kind of common tropes.
Gotcha. So at this point, from the rest on, I have very little notes because this movie slows down so fast to just have the Duke be cheated on constantly.
Yeah, it is kind of
it's
that.
Like 30 minutes of
but
that.
Then we've still got some good songs. We have Roxanne, which I think is one of the strongest songs in this.
Yeah, a lot of people, one person.
A lot of people, one person.
Well, sorry, one person. In a new segment we're doing later, they said Roxanne was the best part of the movie.
It's a very good song.
Roxanne.
Yeah. And then what do you think of the ending?
The ending is all right.
Because she has to, so the Duke says like, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of him. And so she has to like go break up with Ewan McGregor and convince him that she doesn't love him. And he's like upset. And then John Leguizamo is like, no, she does love you. Which is in this case bad advice, because then he goes to the theater and like the whole show is going on and then it falls apart because they're trying to kill him and he's trying to get back with Satine, and then also Satine dies. So
yeah, well, he shows up. He has now put himself in the play as the character
based on him.
That is clearly based on him cheating on the Duke.
Right, the evil Maharaja.
The Maharaja. That actually was a wrestler's name, Jinder Mahal. He was the evil Maharaja. He would call himself.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, why do I know that name? Now it just clicks.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking of wrestling. And then he shows up. I thought that was all good. I thought the Duke shooting him. What when the Duke shoots the gun, what happens again? The Duke gets the gun. And he goes to shoot him. And Zidler punches him in the face. So he never shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's like, "Hey, I'm dying." And he's like, I guess I'll just die immediate now that I finally told you.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all." Is that the plot of this? Is that the theme of this movie?
No, it's the greatest thing we ever learn is to be loved and to love in return. Or is to love and be loved in return.
Oh, God.
It's like the opening of the film. And then also the ending. Like, they make it very obvious.
But isn't that the same thing of what I just said?
No.
Okay. Mine's relative to something else. Yours is, this is it.
Yes.
This is the best thing.
The greatest thing you'll ever learn is to love and be loved in return.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, that guy, a guy who I honestly don't think wrote any poetry the entire movie, because every time he tried to read poetry, he sucked and he sang.
Yeah.
And I was like, your singing is beautiful.
Right.
He's not a writer. He's a singer.
Yeah.
Which is my good takeaway that I've already kind of given away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, overall, it was definitely an interesting watch. It just was really fast, really slow, and then like a lot.
Sure. Did you like Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor in this? You thought they were good?
Yeah, they're charismatic. I enjoyed watching them on screen. They were good.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Both
I think
sexy people.
yeah. They've got pretty good chemistry.
Is this Nicole Kidman's best movie?
Oh gosh, no, because Bewitched.
Okay, Bewitched takes out Moulin Rouge.
I do want us to watch that because I
She
have
was
fond
in, like,
memories of it.
That Virginia Woolf movie I didn't see, The Hours
Yeah.
or whatever.
I think those are two different movies.
What's the Virginia? Who's it? But they both have Nicole Kidman, I think.
I think so.
Isn't okay? That's what happens. That's why I confuse those two movies so much, because they both have Nicole Kidman, and I think they're about the same thing, but they're very different movies. Ewan McGregor. Is this Ewan McGregor's best movie? Man.
Oh wait, we forgot about Aquaman, where she plays Aquaman's mom.
Ewan McGregor's best movie. I'm just not going to acknowledge Aquaman.
I mean, Nicole Kidman has been in so many things, and I think if you're to pick like her best movie, it just depends on what you personally like, because she was in that, Lucille Ball movie was very good. Her performance was very good in it. I would say The Stepford Wives. She's great in The Stepford Wives.
I like that movie, but that is not. Yeah, she is good in it. Yes, I agree.
I really like Stepford Wives. I thought that was a great movie.
I like it a lot, but I don't think it was like I don't think it's highly reviewed. That had Christopher Walken in it.
What? I think it is highly reviewed.
Okay.
Practical Magic, which I don't think you've seen, but is very good. And then, of course, your favorite, Paddington.
Ooh, Paddington would be the best movie she's in, at least as a movie. So here's the thing:
Stepford Wives does have a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I think it's really good.
I like the movie, but I definitely did not think it did very well. I would say, interesting for Ewan McGregor. I would say his best movie that he's been in for you is probably this one, Moulin Rouge. But I haven't seen this movie, but I want to. Trainspotting in 1996, which is a cult classic type movie.
Okay.
Also in 2001, he did Moulin Rouge and Black Hawk Down. What a year.
Wow.
What a Ewan McGregor renaissance.
So
and he's in Big Fish, which I've never seen, but you've seen.
I was going to say, I don't think you've seen my favorite Ewan McGregor film, which is Big Fish. Amazing.
I am excited to watch that down the line.
Definitely going to watch it.
But yeah, no. Do you want my takeaways now, or we got any more things to talk about?
Oh, I was just going to tell you that other people who were considered for his role.
Oh, yes, would love this.
Are Leo, because he was in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, but Leo, I don't think can sing.
I have no idea. Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke just seems old, but I guess he is young enough that they were probably the same age as Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. So that could have worked.
I would like Ethan Hawke.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
So Jake Gyllenhaal has the look for the energy of a Baz Luhrmann movie.
Yeah, he does. And Heath Ledger. And I think Heath was kind of close, but they ended up not going with him because they felt like he looked too young to be Nicole Kidman's...
He's like 5 or 6 years younger than the other guys.
Yeah, to be Nicole Kidman's love interest. I think he and Jake Gyllenhaal are around the same age because they were in Brokeback Mountain together. Yeah. So I think probably both of them were too young.
And so he did First Night or whatever.
A Knight's Tale?
A Knight's Tale instead.
Good movie.
Yeah, it's an alright movie. I don't mind that movie.
And then I saw that Courtney Love, not Anna Nicole Smith, was also considered for Satine.
There's no way that's actually true.
Well, that's what
Courtney
I
Love
read.
Telling people. It's like Hulk Hogan telling people lies and everything.
That's what I read. Okay, what are your takes?
Okay, my good takeaway I've already given is that this dude is a terrible poet. Every time he tries to read a poem, he doesn't do it, and he just sings, and everyone's like, this guy's a great... His one thing he wrote was just what was going on with him. Mm-hmm. There was no real actual creative writing. He stole most of the songs from other people, dude. I don't know if you know this.
Okay.
This is a bad takeaway. The Duke, I believe, was the most fleshed out character in the movie.
Okay.
I feel like I didn't get a lot of information really about anybody else except the Duke. I kind of knew his motivations more. I feel like everyone else, I don't really know their backgrounds that well either. They're just kind of there in this moment. Where the Duke, I feel like, had some more information.
Okay. I mean, I feel like they're all pretty much the same.
It's a bad takeaway.
But sure.
In my normal takeaway, I've been waiting to tell you this since I've seen this movie.
Oh my gosh, great.
I understand why Nicole Kidman, after being in this and Eyes Wide Shut, it's no surprise how amazed she is at very normal movies in the AMC. She must be like, what the fuck? Just regular stories being told on screen?
She does pick an eclectic bunch of movies
It's
to
like
be in.
Wonder Woman, just normal ass movies. I think Bad Boys, like 3 was one of them.
In the AMC.
Yeah, and like the montage
the new,
of things.
The new one.
Yeah,
well, Avatar's in there. So
Avatar, yeah. Planet of the Apes. I guess those are kind of weird, but they're way more normal than this fucking movie.
We come to this place for magic.
Why aren't they doing a jukebox musical?
Yeah, she's great in this, though. I think she's really, really good.
Yeah,
really
I think she's good in this. Yeah, I agree. Oh, and then I said the zoom and cutaways is very similar to Mad Max mixed with Spy Kids with The Crow.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sure.
Just a bunch of movies.
Why not? Why not?
Oh, you know what? Good takeaway.
Okay.
This is the worst. The worst scene in the movie is the gun hitting the Eiffel Tower. When it gets the run out of the fucking thing. That was crazy.
That is funny. That was it?
Yeah, and then this is my impression of an audience member at that show. Show was okay, but the ending really took a turn. I guess it's sort of like a big fuck you to the audience or something. But yeah, no, that's it. Those are my takeaways and a couple extra notes.
Thank you for your takeaways and couple extra notes. One other thing that I have to say, because I think it's an interesting thing about this movie, and I'm worried that if I don't say it and other people know it, they're going to be like, why didn't you say this? So the only original song for this film is Come What May. The Come What May.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah. Well, they sing it kind of throughout.
Yeah.
It was not nominated for Best Song because it was written for Romeo and Juliet, but not used.
Oh, interesting.
So it wasn't used, but because it was written for a different film, then it was not eligible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If I was a Boz Lehrman, I would have not told anybody.
I think they released it in Australia at some point. Yeah, it was a whole thing. Anyway, that's it. So, Joe, who would you cast Wally as in this film? Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to cast him as the goon that we haven't even talked about. That was just kind of a fucking nothing character. And I don't want to cast him in part of those Bohemians. I hated every one of them.
I would cast Wally as the Tinkerbell fairy, played by Kylie Minogue.
Okay.
Australian pop star.
Where is the Tinkerbell fairy?
When they drink the absinthe.
Oh, I forgot about the absinthe theme. Jeez.
How could you forget about the absinthe?
Because 50 million other things are happening.
I know, yeah. It's a lot to keep in your brain.
Okay, yeah. Kylie Minogue. I forgot she was in this.
Well, very briefly,
yeah.
But yes. Okay, well, I think the only thing that's left is to ask Joe.
I'm me.
Is Moulin Rouge a good movie?
Okay, this is difficult.
It's not difficult.
Because I started off hating it, then I grew to like it, and then it got so slow again that I hated it, and then I liked it again, and then the gun hit the Eiffel Tower, and I hated it so much. So I have to weigh in all these different feelings I've had from this guy. But I think overall, mainly because Ewan McGregor is in this movie, this is a good movie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What movie are we watching next week?
Before we get to that, I did want to say this time we asked some people what they thought of.
Oh, sure. I thought we kind of worked that in throughout.
Oh no, not really.
No, you want a separate segment.
Yeah, this is a separate segment.
Okay.
It's like, do you guys think it's a good movie?
Yes, everyone said yes.
And my first comment was from a person named Katie. She said yes.
Great.
And we had people randomly breaking the song and nobody turns into a zombie. 1 star, because it's not Shaun of the Dead.
Sure.
There was only one good sequence in Moulin Rouge. Roxanne, the music video for Lady Marmalade, is also pretty good. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a Baz Luhrmann movie.
That it is.
It's no Transformers 1 in theaters now. Don't even have to see it. Just buy a ticket. It's the best one of these by default. Yep. Help the slumping box office. I think this guy just like Transformers 1. Do you want to read one from your your friend there?
Yes. Shout out Clarissa for this great comment. Moulin Rouge is a masterpiece. I still sing the Elephant Love medley in the shower to this day. And Nicole Kidman with Chef's Kiss as Satine. Plus, the whole theme of loving and being loved in return is very much needed in this day and age. Okay, I'm done.
That's a great review.
That is a great review. It's basically Letterboxd.
You know what else you can review? Our podcast on Spotify or iTunes or anything you want to rate it on.
Yep. YouTube, Google Podcasts.
Like our Instagram at TIAGM Pod. Next week, Katie, if you're wondering what movie we're gonna watch, and I know you are, I'm getting to the roots. I feel like I've been doing too many obscure movies that I also want to do an Oscar-nominated movie.
Okay.
So we are going to watch a movie I don't think we've seen any of these actors in so far.
Oh my gosh.
Good Will Hunting. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Minnie Driver, Robin Williams.
Did you know Minnie Driver and Matt Damon broke up? They were dating and then they broke up before it was nominated for awards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so messy.
So you know that, but you don't know anything about the movie. You have a good idea what the movie is, I would guess, from pop culture.
I genuinely don't.
What the hell?
Wait. Well.
What the This is a great pick for me, then. I genuinely don't know anything.
Because I think I get it confused with another movie.
Oh, The Hours?
Let's just save it.
All right, sign us off, Katie.
Okay, great. Everyone go watch it. Where can we watch it?
Oh, Good Will Hunting?
Oh, where do we watch Moulin Rouge? Wait, did we have to rent it?
Yeah, we had to rent it.
Okay, everyone, I hope you all have it on DVD already.
I have Good Will Hunting on DVD, but I might be incorrect here, but I think you can watch Good Will Hunting on HBO Max.
Oh, okay. Fingers crossed. Great. We'll be watching that.
If not, it'd be cheap rent for Prime.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Well, this was another good movie. Podcast. We appreciate everyone listening. We appreciate our podcast editor and theme song creator, Kale Forbes, theme song vocals from Austin Fry, and our logo from Carrie Pulley. If you want to hear more from us, follow our Instagram at TIAGMPod. You can find our personal Instagram handles there too, and you can email us at TIAGMpodcast@gmail.com. Have you checked that inbox ever?
Yeah.
Oh, great. As always, following, listening, and subscribing, commenting, sharing, rating, reviewing is a huge help. Subscribing is the most helpful of all, so please do that if you can, and tell your friends and tell your coworkers. Shout out to my mom. I'm Katie Etledge.
I'm Joe Bates.
We love you. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye.
This is a good movie podcast with Katie and Joe.